Now, as usual, being simulcast on ABC News 24 News Radio, and you can join the Twitter conversation or send us a question by Twitter using the Quanda hashtag on your screen. Well, our first question tonight comes from Riley Griffen.
Hi. I go to Youth Connections, an alternative Year 11 program on the Central Coast. This class is for kids like me who are unable to attend any other school, but we have to go to school because we are not yet 17. We are told that in the May budget, the Youth Connections and partner broker schemes will not be refunded, and there is nothing to take the place of these programs. Some young people are not ready for work and have lots of issues such as homelessness, drug and alcohol abuse, depression, anxiety, and we don't have much money. My question is, Minister Pyne, what will you and your government do for kids like me and my mates when the Youth Connections and Partnership broker programs are gone in January next year?
Christopher Pyne.
Well, Riley, the Youth Connections and Partnerships broker programs were established in 2010 for 3 years, and the Labor Party, when they were in government, funded them for 1 extra year, so that was one of those lovely landmines that they left for the incoming government because You're
calling this program a landmine, are you? It sounds like it's actually doing some good, whereas landmines kill people.
Well, I actually hadn't finished my opening sentence, Tony, but if that's the way we're going to do it tonight, that's fine. But no, I wasn't describing the program as a landmine. I was describing Labor's only funding it for 1 year so that it finished in the first year of a coalition government as laying a landmine for the incoming government. That's what they did in many areas. This is just another one of them because Labor, like a lot of people, didn't think they were going to get re-elected, and so they didn't fund this program into the future, which means that the incoming government has to make decisions about spending priorities. Obviously, the budget is Tuesday week, tomorrow week, and there hasn't been any announcement that Youth Connections or partnership brokers will be abolished. There is certainly a campaign being waged by those people in Youth Connections and partnership brokers to keep them open. The government's priorities are to ensure that we have either employment options for young people if they leave school, or apprenticeships and traineeships, or alternatively stay at school until they finish, till they're 18. And one of the things that I want to do as Higher Education Minister is ensure that as many people as possible can access university who want to. Now, one of the great things in the last few years that has been available at university are enabling courses and sub-bachelor or diploma courses which give people who are first-generation university goers the opportunity to get to university even if they haven't finished Year 12.
Christopher Pyne, we'll go to the university issues later because there are plenty of people with questions on that, but will you keep this program alive, or will you, in fact, stop funding it, as everyone is expecting? There's been a whole series of stories in the newspapers where Riley comes from saying this program is dead in the water.
Well, that's very emotive language. The budget hasn't been released yet. It'll be released Tuesday week.
Do you want to keep it going?
Well, what I want to do is make sure that the government provides opportunities for young people to either be in training, apprenticeships, university or jobs. And the entire suite of policies that we will announce next week will, I hope, and I think most people hope, lead in that direction. Now, whether Youth Connections or partnership brokers in their current form continue is something that we'll discover next Tuesday, and I can't preempt the budget.
OK, well, just before you go on, I just want to go back to Riley, who asked the question. You've heard what the Minister is saying. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, it seems to me that you don't really have any concerns for us kids if this, if Youth Connections does stop getting funded.
Well, Youth Connections didn't exist before 2010, and governments, whether they were Labor or Liberal, obviously cared about young people leaving school or being in school. So, well, Labor was in power for the 3 years before 2010, so that laughter must have been for the Labor government as well. But what I'm saying is, before 2010, there were programs in place for young people, but the most important thing that governments can do is ensure that the economy is growing to give young people the opportunity for jobs and if they're not in jobs, to be in training or university.
Okay,
that is the highest priority of any
Christopher,
government.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let's hear what the other panellists say. Anna Burke, you first.
Youth Connects has been a fantastic program, and like a lot of things, you create programs out of need, and there's a huge need in those areas where there's high youth unemployment. Youth unemployment is running at twice the rate of unemployment, so it's 12%, but in some of coastal areas it's as high as 30%. So there was a need, there was an identified need, there was a program created. It's been a really successful program, and Christopher can go on about budget, you know, time bombs or whatever he wants to.
He's actually saying you didn't fund it beyond this year.
No, well, and that's what I'm getting to.
Why not?
You didn't.
Well, a lot of things aren't funded ongoing because you then evaluate, assess and see how the program is progressing. That program is actually working really well, and probably Labor would have funded it. We're not currently the government, tragically. I say that with all serious intent because this is an incredibly serious area. And just to palm it off and say, well, we're going to hoping and praying and wishing isn't going to create jobs and outcomes. Youth Connects is, and we would seriously like to see it continued and getting some answers now. Otherwise, a whole lot of people are going to be laid off very soon who are running those programs, and a whole lot of young people are going to be left in the wind. And if rumour is right, and you've got to hang on till you're 25 to get unemployment benefits, what are you doing with yourselves if you don't have these programs that suit people? Not everybody wants to get to university or TAFE. Not everybody can get there straight from school. Youth Connects has actually been a great brokerage program to help people who fall between the traps to actually progress and get somewhere and, you know, and progress and become great citizens in our our great country.
Right, we've heard the two political sides. Let's hear from our other panellists. John Roscombe, you first. Are there casualties that have to happen in a budget like this, and would you be worried if this were one of them?
Well, this might be a very good program. It probably is. Let's wait and see what happens in the budget in the coming weeks. But the reality is Australia does face very significant budgetary questions, and it's not just about valuable programs. It's about where are the jobs going to come into the future? How do you not inherit massive debt? How do we get to be productive? And I'm sure the government will make a decision based on all of those things. But let's just wait and see what's in the budget first.
Pallavi Sinha.
Yes, thank you very much, Tony. And I'd also like to thank Riley for the question. I think it is a very important area. The youth are our future, and we need to make sure that we're investing properly in our youth and giving them the opportunities that they deserve. Yes, it is true that it's all speculation at the moment, but it is certainly something that we should be considering and thinking about what we're doing in relation to this area. I'm very passionate about youth issues. I was involved in a planning committee which established ASK, which is a legal advice and referral service for youth, in conjunction with the Ted Noss Foundation. And I've also read that Youth Connections program has been very successful. It's helped 30,000 young people, and 93% of those have stayed on to continue working after the program. So whatever ends up happening in the budget, I think the most important thing is that there are some programs in place to help youth who are the future generation and who will be the ones who will be working until the age of 70 if these changes are introduced as well.
Let's hear from our last panellist, Mark Trevorrow.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, Christopher. If I was in the cabinet, I might be saying, well, what about we buy 28 stealth bombers, which still sounds quite a lot, and siphon some of those billions of dollars towards a program funding. I wouldn't, if I were you, Riley, I wouldn't feel too confident by some of the things Christopher said. He didn't kind of answer the question exactly, did he? But it doesn't feel good for me that the program doesn't.
Okay. We've got a lot of questions on education.